In today's lesson, we're going to take a look at commission and step commission. Now, step commission is basically the same idea as commission, slightly different. It's kind of like the overtime commission equivalent. It's where you do a whole lot of sales all in one short period of time. So commission is pretty much only for sales job. So if you do anything where you sell stuff, you might earn commission, or at least part of your pay might be based on commission. And the idea here is that the employer would really like to motivate you to sell more stuff. And the best way they can do that is by giving you more money based on the amount of stuff you sell. So that actually gets us into our very first question. Why do employers prefer to pay employees using commission? So I'm going to actually use an example, which was my best friend in high school. He got a job selling furniture at the Brick, and he was an absolutely lousy salesman. So he was there for quite a bit of time, and he made very, very few sales. As a result, they didn't have to really pay him very much. So as an employer, I'd be very angry if I had to pay an employee a whole bunch of money and they never actually made me any money. So they actually cost me money to have them there. Whereas if that person had been a really good salesperson, having them in would be fantastic. If I have to pay them $100,000 a week, that's a whole lot of money I'd have to pay, but that must mean that they made millions of dollars that week. So I'm happy paying them, a decent amount. So there's some real motivation for employers to want to pay based on commission, and it's because they only pay when they make money. When they make money. So um, I'll use kind of the recent COVID stuff that was going on. Horrible for employees, but great for employers. So if all of a sudden, the sales are dropping in my business, no one's buying anything, well, at least I don't have to pay my employees anything. So as an employer, I love this. Um, as an employee, maybe not so much. That said, there are advantages to earning commission as an employee, and it's a little bit like piecework. If you work harder, you will make more money. If you're good at your job, you'll make more money. So I'll just put down more or better work equals more money. So if you're really good at making sales or you've able to make a lot of sales, you work hard, you're going to make a lot of commission. Advantages and disadvantages of commission to a customer. Ooh, that's an interesting one. If you're a customer going into a store, would you rather have someone working on commission helping you or someone not working on commission helping you? There is no one right answer to this, by the way. I think there's one that probably is a little bit more common, but I want you to think about it. When you walk into a store, do you want the employees to be paid more if they make more sales or paid the same regardless of whether or not they make sales? I'm going to go back and tell you a story about two companies that existed not that long ago. One of them still exists, one of them does not. They sell electronics, mostly consumer electronics, video games, computers, stuff like that. One of them, I should point out actually, they were both owned by the same parent company. One of them bought the other one out. And the only real difference between them, other than cosmetic, like different color schemes, different logos, they were selling the same products at pretty much the same prices. The only real difference was one of the stores went on a commission model where they paid their salespeople commission, and one of them paid hourly rates. So going into the place that sold commission or paid based on commission, you'd get hounded by like five salespeople, all like huddling around you, trying to like sell you everything you looked at. Oh, you like that? Try this one here. You want this one too. You want this add-on. Get this, get this, get this. I found it horrifically annoying. The other store, not bad. The disadvantage there was I'd sometimes have a question or need help and no one's around. They don't get paid anymore if they make a sale, so half the time they're off doing their own thing and not really paying attention to me because they don't make money by talking to me. So there was disadvantage to both. The commission play. Well, sorry. I'll tell you the place that paid based on not commission to its salespeople was Best Buy, which is doing quite well. The place that paid commission to its salespeople was called Future Shop. It no longer exists. So I think based on that, they found that paying their salespeople commission did not give a better customer experience. I'm sure that they probably have some other way of rewarding employees that do good jobs, whether that's a bonus or like an employee of the month reward or something. Not enough to make them hound you down and bug you, but enough to make them want to go help somebody who looks like they need some assistance. So advantage for commission to the customer is you get more help. And a disadvantage, yeah, that's close enough. Yeah, that'll work. Disadvantage would be you tend to get people trying to oversell. Employees and I actually did apply for a job, not at either of those places, at another place, and it paid on commission. And we were expected to do upsells on every purchase. If we sold a chair, we were supposed to try and sell a chair mat. If we sold a pen, we were supposed to try and sell a pen holder. If we sold anything, we always had to try and sell something else. And when they told me that, I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm not that guy. I'm sorry. So I never took the job there. Although I don't think they would have offered it to me after I said that anyway. But yeah. So definitely disadvantages and advantages to commission salespeople, and disadvantages and advantages to both the customer, the employer, and the employee. So let's look at this one here. Say you work at a hot dog stand. Your employer gives you 8% of all sales. How much do you make if you sell $600 worth of stuff? Well, you get 8% of $600. And since we covered some stuff on percent, doing percent of a value is actually not that tricky. First step we're going to do is convert the percent to a decimal number so that we can put it into our calculator. 8% is the same thing as 8 divided by 100, so 0.08. Please make sure that extra zero's in there. 0.8 is actually 80%. I would love to make 80% commission on my sales, but that doesn't happen. And the word of in math tends to mean multiply. So 8% of 600. So now we've converted it from English into math. And now we just punch it into our calculator. 0.08 times 600 gives us $48. A little trick you can do here just to save yourself some time or to at least see if the number looks reasonable. Doing this in your head is a little bit tricky, but doing 10% of a number, 10% of a number is just the number divided by 10. 10% of $60 or $600 would be 60. 8% is a little lower. 48 is a little less than 60. That seems reasonable. I think we did the answer correctly. If we got $480 or $4.80, we definitely know that something was terribly wrong. Okay, so our hot dog stand, we made $48 for that shift where we sold 600 bucks. Now, if the hot dogs are $3 each, how many would you need to sell in order to make $150 a day? Ooh, this becomes a little bit trickier. Here's what I'm going to do. Up at the top, I put down last question, I put down 8% of 600, and that gave us how much we earned. So here I'm going to say 8% of, and I don't know what the number is going to be. So I'm going to just do X. 8% of X should tell me how much money I'm going to make. Well, in this case, I know I want to make $150. So what this means is 0.08 times X equals 150. And if I want to get that X by itself, what I should do is actually divide both sides by 0.08. And if you remember an easier way to do this and you're getting the right answer, you're welcome to use it. But for now, I'm just going to show you how to simplify that equation. Okay, so that means that x equals 150 divided by 0.08. And when I put that in, I get 1,875. Now, a whole bunch of people at this point are going to be really happy they found the answer to the question, except that they haven't. 1,875 is the amount of dollars that you need to sell in order to get $150 commission. Now, just to put this in perspective, to go from 48 to 150, that's about triple the amount I have to make. And that means I should have to roughly triple the $600 in sales, so about 1,800 in sales. So, okay, this number makes sense. But the question isn't how much do you have to make in sales, it's how many hot dogs would you have to sell. And since hot dogs are $3 each, 1875 divided by 3 is going to be 625 hot dogs. Now, I don't want you to think of this as a formula or an equation that we used. We just had to logic our way through it and say, what's the question asking us for and how do we find it? So it's not like every time you see a question with a number in it, you divide by 3. It just doesn't work that way. It has to do with what are we being asked to find and did we find it yet? Okay, so you worked at a hot dog stand. Could you sell 625 hot dogs a day? That's more than a hot dog a minute for 10 hours. That's a pretty quick pace. So maybe, maybe not, depends how busy the street you're on is. But either way, good luck. Okay, question 6. Now we're getting into my kind of territory here. A video game store pays their employees on commission. The pay is 6% of the first $6,000 worth of games sold in a month, 8% of the next $4,000, and 12% of anything over that. Now this is what we call step commission. And step commission, kind of like overtime hours, is saying that if you go above and beyond, if you do a bunch of extra work, we're going to give you a higher and higher amount of money per amount sold. So we're going to reward you by selling all this extra stuff by letting you keep a higher percentage of the sales. So we have 2 employees at the store, Jack and Jill, and Jack has sold $9,000 this month in video games. How much is he going to get paid? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up the step commission in actual steps. We're going to do step 1, step 2, step 3. So $9,000. I know this is going to seem kind of a weird way to write it. I'm going to break this down and say, well, we make 6% on the first 6,000. So this is step 1. And then step 2 is the next $4,000. However, Jack only sells 9,000 in total, so there is no next 4,000. There's only 3,000 more. So his first step, he sells $6,000 worth. His second step, he sells $3,000 worth, and that's it. So we're told here that it's 6% of the first 6,000. So for first step, it's 6% of 6,000, which is 0.06 times 6,000. And when I put that into my calculator, I get out $360. And by the way, I don't care if you format it exactly the way I am, as long as you kind of have these ideas. Really, I want to see the 6% of 6,000. And then there's the next step. He gets 8% of it, up to 4,000. But of course, he only sells $3,000, so it's 8% of 3,000. So 0.08 times 3,000. 0.08 times 3,000 is $240. So his first step of commission's $360. That's kind of like regular hours if he was making an hourly wage. And his next step is $240. That's kind of like his overtime pay, if you want to try and draw the equivalent. So his total pay is 360 plus 240, which is a grand total of $600. So Jack makes $600 that month. Now that seems pretty crappy for a month's worth of pay, but we don't know anything about Jack or Jill. Maybe Jack only works Saturday mornings, in which case this is a pretty decent pay. If Jack works 8-hour days, 5 days a week, Jack needs to find a new job because he's not a very good salesperson. All right, let's check out Jill. Jill sells about 1.5 times as much. Well, if we did proportional, 1.5 times 600, we'd expect her to make about $900. But because she gets higher percent commission on that upper stuff, maybe she'll make more than $900. Let's find out. So I'm going to kind of break it down in a very similar way that I broke down the last one. I'm going to break down the 13,600 into 6,000 for the first step. Step 2 is the next $4,000. She obviously can sell at least $4,000 more. And then 12% of anything over that, well, that so far is $10,000 worth. So there's going to be an additional $3,600. So if I add up those 3 steps, they should total her total sales. 6,000 plus 4,000 plus 3,600. So now for her first step, 6% of 6,000, 0.06 times 6,000, and that's going to be 360. I didn't even really need to calculate that because it's exactly the same as the first step of Jack's commission, since they both completed that step. Now, the second one's going to be a little bit different because she sold $4,000 in the second step. He only sold 3. But she gets 8% of 4,000, or 0.08 times 4,000, which is $320. All right. The last one. The third step, she's getting paid 12% of that last 3,600. 12% is 0.12 times 3,600. 0.12 times 3,600 in my calculator is $432. So her total pay is 360 plus 320 plus 432. And if we put those together, assuming I hit the right buttons, she's going to make $1,112. Alrighty. So does that mean that she's a better salesperson than Jack? If they work the same amount, I'd say so, but we don't know. Maybe she worked twice as many hours. Yeah. But either way, that's how you deal with commission and step commission. Percentage of each step, just keep track of the steps. I know it seems like it's really long and tedious, but when you actually go to try these, it's fairly straightforward. Okay, last one. Lisa sells furniture and earns a commission of 5% on her sales up to $25,000 per week and 8% for anything over that. She's set a goal of earning $2,000 this week. How much furniture does she need to sell? Okay, the way we're going to approach this one is we're going to see whether or not she even goes into the step commission. Maybe to get $2,000, she can get that just based on regulars, like the 5% sales. She doesn't, maybe not even going into the 8%. So let's just try and see what happens when we do 5% of 25,000. So 0.05 times 25,000. And I'm getting 1,250. Okay, so obviously she has to earn more. Um, I'm just going to put down here that that's how much she's going to make in step one, or how much money will be made in step one. So what that means is she needs to make another, well, how much more does she need to make? 1,250. She needs to make $750 more. Okay, in order to figure that out, she's going to have to make 8% of some unknown amount of sales. So I'm going to leave that as an X variable. You'll notice that when I do multiplication signs, I make them pretty small, and when I make X's, I make them fairly big. So hopefully you can tell the difference between them in my writing. But 8% of whatever sales I need to make should get us $750. And then we can solve this one kind of like a simple equation. This is 0.08 times X equals 750. And to get X by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 0.08. On the left-hand side, I just have X. And on the right-hand side, I have a calculator to figure it out. So 750 divided by 0.08 is $9,375. Okay, so that means in step two, she has to sell $9,375 worth of sales in order to make $750 of pay. So in total, she had to sell the step one sales, which was $1,250, and the step two sales, which was $9,375. And if we put those together, we get a whopping $10,625. So the grand total of her sales for that month, or that, is it a week? No, per week. She has to make $10,000 in sales in a week. Now that might sound like a lot. At the same time, she works in a furniture store. $10,000 in sales a week means a little over $2,000 a day. And I mean, a dining room set or a living room set could easily cost $2,000. So maybe if she just sells one set a day, she could make this much money. It's quite possible. All right, so that's about as hard as any of these questions could possibly get. In fact, I think that is the hardest mathematical question of Unit 1. So that's the good news. The bad news is you still have to know how to do this. From here on in, some practice questions give you an opportunity to try these out on your own, see how you do, and make sure again that you are checking with the answers at the bottom to make sure that you're getting these correct and they are, like the others, missing a number. If you can figure out what number goes in each of those boxes, I think you're doing pretty good. Let me know if I can help you in any way. Otherwise, I will see you in the next lesson.